Titles, go.
You can eat cart sushi.
You want the fist?
Kid-friendly horrors.
Epic payback.
Like a super soaker.
Lightning cream.
A high number of failures.
Sounds like this show. The bull rides you.
Coconut water and turmeric.
All right, guys, let's do this.
Warning. What you are about to hear contains explicit language, adult themes, and potentially disturbing content. The views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts and do not reflect the opinions of anyone else, anywhere, ever, in the history of the world. This podcast is intended for an immature audience and should not be listened to by anyone, anywhere, ever, in the history of the world. You know, fuck it. You've been warned.
It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. Wait, that's not our opening. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Geek Pod. I'm your host, Paul.
I'm Hugh.
And I'm not Corbs. I'm Kev.
No, Kev isn't. Jesus Christ. Corbs isn't.
You're right.
us
Kev
today.
is not Jesus Christ. You're
I am not.
absolutely right.
Believe me. Believe you. I am not.
He is not Jesus Christ, and neither is Corbs, who is not with us tonight. He is he's recovering. It was his turn to get the Ronas. So he's doing all right. I've been in touch with him every day. He said it's basically kind of like a really bad flu, and he's over this shit. He's so he plans to be back next week, doing all of his exciting things that he does here. Moving on, guys, what's got you geeked?
Well, I can tell you it's definitely not AMC deciding they're going to start charging more for bigger movies, which is pretty messed up. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but they're charging $1 more for at least $1 more for tickets to see the Batman than they are other movies in the same time slot. And they're experimenting with this. And I understand why, but I feel like that's a really slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
You know, movies are one of the, I mean, if you want to raise the prices of a ticket, okay, but raising the price of the ticket based on what the ticket's for, that's kind of messed up. But, you know, I bring that up because what has me excited is movies. And it's specifically the Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th franchises. We have been, after going through all the other horror movies we could think of that were kid-friendly-ish, we ran out of movies, and I went and the Friday series wasn't bad. We were able to like skip through parts. I'm sorry, not the Nightmare series. But Friday the 13th, I actually went through and manually edited all 11 films, if you count Freddy versus Jason, to remove the really bad parts so that our daughter could watch them. And I don't mean like the nudity. She knows what boobs are. She knows what sex is, but she doesn't need to see Crispin Glover like going at it in, you know, Friday the 13th part 4. So edited out the really graphic parts. And we got through the Nightmare series. She really sympathizes with Freddy a lot, especially the reboot Freddy, the creepy pedophile one. She's like, but it's not his fault. He just likes those children. Those people burned him. He should kill them and get back at that. It's ridiculous. Remember I told you she sympathized with Gollum and Lord of the Rings? Same thing. She always sides with the wrong people, no matter what it is in life. Yeah. Yeah, it blows my mind. But you know, we finished Friday the 13th part 4 tonight, and she was getting really angry because she's like, why? No, don't go there. Don't go back in the basement. Get out of the house. These people are stupid. I'm losing brain cells watching this. But then at the end of that movie, if you recall, Corey Feldman playing Tommy Jarvis shaves his head and then kills Jason. Well, when his sister leaves the house and says, Tommy, you know, I'm going to lead him away. Get out of the house as soon as I'm gone. She goes into the other house, her and Jason fucking cat and mouse. And she gets back and she's like, Tommy, I told you to leave. Well, when Tommy kills Jason at the end, she's like, she's so immature. She should have saved him. He ended up saving her. He's more mature than she is. I don't know why she thinks mature. I think she means responsible, but she just doesn't get it that the reason that happened is because he didn't do what she told him to. It's her fault. I cannot wrap my head around this 10-year-old's logic at all. Which interestingly enough leads me into something I have to bring up. I guess this is as good a time as any because we're talking about it. Because after the movie, we were supposed to have an appointment tonight, but it got canceled, and she really wanted to go to the store. So we go to Price Chopper really quick. It's supposed to be really quick. So I go there, I grab a couple things of sushi. I see this big thing. It's a chef special. Maybe it's, they have to sell it today or whatever. It was like 1.5 times the normal sushi and the fancy rolls and everything. I'm all excited about this. So I place that in another package in the basket in front of me and put a drink on this side. As we're walking through the store, she keeps doing a tick and keeps touching the drink and touching the drink. And, whatever, we deal with that all the time. So I'm in the cookie aisle and I go, and my wife wanted these sugar-free cookies. I come back to the cart to put them in, and I find that package of sushi is now in the bottom of the cart, and part of it is spread all over the bottom. I'm like, and then I realized what happened. Her touching the soda pushed it all to the side, and it fell down between the basket and the thing. Now, she can't help that. I'm not mad at her because she did that. I'm disappointed because I was really looking forward to that sushi during the movie review. But I'm like, okay, so I scoop. What do you do in that situation? You have upside down sushi in your cart. What do you do in that situation? You tell me.
Call somebody. There's a mess on aisle 7.
Oh no, it's in my cart. It's not on the floor.
It doesn't have to be. Park the cart, walk away.
Well, I shoved it because only a few rolls fell out, but they were on the bottom. I'm not going to eat them. Put them in there, close the package, set it on the shelf like you do, and I'm going to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like in Walmart when you see eating chicken bones and shit and they leave the package there. I wasn't trying to pull a fast one, but there's nobody at the sushi counter. They barely have enough people to run the registers. I'm just going to set this here. They'll take care of it later. And when you do that, you leave it for other people to walk by and make jokes about, oh, look, stable sushi. Because that's what I do every time I see something that's supposed to be refrigerated on the shelves. So I go, Avery, come on. She's like, Daddy, what are you doing? I look around. There's people in the aisle. She's like, no, you can still eat that. No, don't put it on the shelf. It doesn't belong there. Put it back. We'll buy it. You can still eat it. You should eat it. That's wasteful. Don't leave it on the shelf. Oh my God.
She ratted you out.
Oh, she is. I'm going to get her back. The next opportunity I have to publicly humiliate her, she's going to hate me being her father more than she already does.
Hugh, I don't know what you did, but this payback is epic.
That's pretty good. We have to come up with something good because I think the last time you publicly humiliated her was on here when we named an episode after slapping you. I believe. Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't come up with a good title out of that.
Right.
Avery says eat cart sushi. I don't know. Even when we got home and I told my wife about it, she still kept trying to say that I should have paid for and eaten the sushi. I'm like,
you ruined it.
She won't even eat a cookie if she's touched it. She has to hold everything with a paper towel. I'm supposed to eat sushi that's been on the bottom of a cart that I pulled out of a cart return outside.
Right. That's definitely another bout of Corona there. That's.
Oy. So I don't know if I'm geeked or not, man. It's a fucking weird day. Let's move on.
All right, Kev.
Wow.
What's got you geeked, buddy?
Why do you make me follow this?
How do you follow that?
I'm sorry, Corbs Jr. I'll tone it down next time.
Holy shit. No, I only have one word for what's got me geeked. Birthday.
Birthday?
More than F.
Birthday. Birthday with an F. Birthday.
Oh, it's your birthday?
It's on Monday.
Oh, happy birthday.
I went and picked out my birthday present today. Had to order it.
You had to pick that out?
Yeah, we're all done with the whole, here's your surprise. It's so nice. And then we just spend all sorts of money on crap that we know we like and, the other one likes or whatever. But now it's just more about, all right, there's something epic that that you want, or you've been looking forward to. So let's just go do that. So we did that.
What'd you get?
Really not what I wrote in the notes.
What did you write in the notes? Wait a minute. What did I miss?
And you keep talking at the same time?
Oh, you keep writing notes? What is wrong? Wait a minute. No, that's not it. Birthday. You didn't write anything. Oh, you didn't finish it. You didn't finish the cell. You never hit enter.
Shit. Well, that ruined that joke.
Well, yeah, there you go. And that's
Is it there now?
I still want to see it.
What the hell?
It might take a second to refresh. Anyway, whatever.
Okay.
So no,
Go back to
here's the thing. So I don't know how everybody feels about this. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I live in the country. I'm a redneck. It's that simple. The last time I legally carried a sidearm, a pistol, was when I was in the service, and I only did it when I was an armorer's assistant for a very short period of time. And I was also a 60 gunner, so I carried an M60. M60 gunners carry a 1911. At that time, it was 1911. We didn't have the 92 Berettas yet. So for a very, very short period of time, I handled and had to qualify with sidearms, and it carried all sorts of long arms and did all sorts of crazy stuff with those. I've always had guns. I've always had shotguns and rifles, and I've always hunted and things like that. On and off hunted. I don't really make a big serious thing out of it. I haven't really been out in the woods much in the last few years. But the wife and I we got our pistol permits, and
Nice.
today I went out and I picked out my very first pistol that I will own. It will be mine, and I will have it, and I will have to maintain it and keep it safe and hug it and kiss it and all that fun stuff. No, I don't do that kind of shit. But I'm very, very, very excited because I did a lot of research. There's a lot of really good equipment out there, a lot of very nice pieces, and I decided on one. It's a brand that I've liked for a very, very long time, Walther, and they make very high precision arms, and have since 40s, 50s, something like that, whatever it was, maybe longer. I couldn't tell you the history of the company. As far as how back.
Didn't 007 carry a Walther PPK?
Well, 007 was famous, yes, and it was the Sean Connery James Bond version of
James Bond.
James Bond that carried the PPK, the small. Remember the small? It was a 380. The barrel flipped up, and to clean and whatever. It was a very, very nice, very small, very accurate little firearm. Later on, they actually carried larger, newer versions of the Walthers, the PPS or something like that. They've got a brand new one that is not brand new; it's a couple years old. It's an iteration of another model, and it's a lot of the people that use it and have used it and reviewed it have got a lot of really good things to say about it. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to getting back out on the range, and we're actually going to schedule an instructor for Kathy. She's never handled a pistol much at all, and she's very good with a long gun. She's very good with her 22 and with shotguns, and she shot AR, and she shot a bunch of things at the range, and she does very, very well. She's very accurate, very good eye, very steady. She really looking forward to her own. We picked hers out also, and so we're going to get an instructor so that she can learn the right way. I'm really not the one to teach her. There are things that I know that I could give her tips and tricks and the correct handling, etc., things like that. But I can't give her the kind of instruction. I can't give her the kind of peace of mind that a real instructor can. So we're on the hunt for an instructor, and I'm going to go too. I want to hear what they say. There's a lot of new techniques out there, a lot of really good, really sound handling and reloading, and just very, very specific techniques, especially with these new firearms with the new optics, ways to handle them, ways to to get more accurate with them, to get more comfortable with them. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to that, and spending some money on some lead as we throw it down the range. So very, very happy about that. Very excited.
Awesome.
Can I ask, just out of my own curiosity, what does a pistol like that run?
I was going to ask the same thing.
Good question. The one I picked out, retail last year was $649, high retail. Through 21, the retail for that gun went from $549 to $649, anywhere in that area. They've changed the price on that. Walther actually increased the MSRP on it up to almost $700, where I found it, and it's sold out everywhere. So we had the gun shop I worked with locally. Another good thing is we've got a couple of local gun shops. I wanted to work with one of them locally because I like to try to, give business to local businesses, and it's very small, a husband and wife shop. They did not have one. Their distributor did not have one. They had to go to an online retailer, or a retailer that has an online store. So they pay retail for it, which I'll pay them retail, and I'll just pay an exchange fee, or a transfer fee, to them. So it ended up being $649 plus tax. So it's and you could say it's an expensive firearm for something you're just going to take to the range and just have around the house. And I'm not a police officer, so it's not like I need it on a daily basis. But I wanted it to be a very good, very high quality, very well thought out firearm with very good history behind it. Something I could put a lot of rounds through and own for a very long time. I'm not one to buy things and resell them like that. So I think it's a good price. I think that range, depending upon whether it's a professional, like Target accurized model versus the one I have, they could go all the way up to over $1,000 very easily, very quickly. Wow. So, and Kathy's was significantly less. It was $480, I think. A little bit smaller frame. Obviously, she's got a smaller hand, so it fits her hand better. Not a Walther, a different brand.
My wife will not let me have a gun.
Yeah, I completely understand. It's kind of why I hesitated to bring it up, but you know what? It's part of who I am. I've been around firearms my whole life, so whatever. I don't not something I share on social media or anything, but I'll share it with you guys.
Well, I know. I mean,
our 5 viewers.
I would actually love to own one. I've wanted to. I mean, I even tried to convince her to let me at least get a shotgun or a rifle. I mean, not necessarily, just peace of mind. And for when the zombie apocalypse happens,
yeah.
I'm gonna have to go scrounging for one now. But she just doesn't. I mean, I don't think she's one of those people that is like against them altogether. She just doesn't trust it in our house. She wouldn't feel safe with it.
I think my household would be the same way too. Yeah.
And I don't quite understand that because it's not like I'm gonna like buy a gun and be like, oh hey, look at this new trick I did with my gun. I'm probably barely ever gonna take it out once every 6 months to clean it.
I think there's a lot of trepidation from people that haven't had an opportunity to be around them. They've never been around them when they were younger. They didn't grow up around them. They haven't been in a environment where they were common. So that trepidation exists where they don't really know, well, why do you want it? Why do you need it? They've never had the experience. I could suggest that maybe you find an instructor that has some firearms. You and your wife go and take an afternoon and just fire a bunch of different guns, some long guns, some shotguns, some pistols. Once you've done it and once you've experienced that, I mean, you're either going to love it or hate it. But I think a lot of people get a big kick out of that because now they're like, oh, wow, look what I just did. From here, I hit that target down there and I actually did pretty good. And, I improved over a certain period of time. And now I've got a little bit of skill with this. And, they're not so bad. It's kind of fun.
Other than my cousin's husband, like letting me shoot a rifle when I was like, I don't know, 10 or 9 or 10. My next experience with guns, my first wife, when we were first dating, I'm living with her in her parents' trailer. And one day she had to work and her mom had the day off. I don't know if she took the day off or what. She's like, hey, Hugh, I want to go do something with you. She pulls a chest out from under her bed and says, help me carry this to the backyard. Opens it up and there are shotguns, handguns,
oh, that's
all
awesome.
sorts of guns. And we proceeded to target shoot. But I think it was kind of like, hey, look how many guns I have.
Right.
Better be good to my daughter.
Yeah. So it was interesting. You know, I guess some people might have been intimidated, but I was actually really excited because it's the one and only time I fired a handgun. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I had a really good friend of mine that was a girl, and we did not date or anything. She might have dated a friend of mine or two, but she was like one of two girls that hung out with a couple of us guys. Her father was a judge, and the first time I went over there to pick her up, we were going to go out to the movies. He had, I shit you not, a dozen guns on the kitchen table, cleaning them. Okay, so they're all laid out. I spent an hour and a half talking to him about all his different guns, going over different specs and different what he had. He's going upstairs. He's grabbing, bringing. Look at this one. What do you think? Have you seen this one before? You know, by this time, I'm just like, I didn't want to go to the movies. She had to drag me out of the house to go to the movies. I love that guy. Love that guy. And when he died, it was like one of the most horrible days of my life. I was just so sad. But yeah, that's hilarious.
That's awesome.
People don't get the reaction they expect sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
There you go. That's all I got.
Wasn't Han Solo's blaster based off of the Walther P-38?
No, that was actually a Mauser. It's a German Mauser.
You're right. That's what it was. Where am
yeah.
I getting the Walther P-38 from then?
P-38.
It's got to be something pop culture related.
So all of the guns in Star Wars, every single one of them was based on a real gun. The Stormtroopers carried a submachine gun. It was a German or British submachine gun. And this is a little piece of trivia that's pretty interesting. They had to wear it on their left hip because when you look at the gun, the magazine came out the left side of the gun. Now, it was only a short turnaround magazine they were using, but because of that, they couldn't wear them on their right hip. There's just no way to do it. So all of the Stormtroopers, they either hung them or they had them in a holster on their left hip.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a modified. It had a little sighting thing they put on it. They were just, prop guns that just fired blanks. And then there were some other ones, like some of the newer ones have been based on some other guns. But all of that is online. There's a couple of people that really break down the long guns that the Stormtroopers had. They were based on an old German machine gun. And if you know the firearms, you can actually look at them and you can see exactly what they are, and you'll know what they are, because the modifications really aren't that extreme on a lot of them.
Right. Usually it's just enough to make them look science fiction-y. Yeah.
Yeah. And plus they needed something that would go bang, because the special effects guys needed to be able to cue in, those laser blasts with the kick of the gun and, the flat pop and the flash and all that. So it was good that they fired blanks.
Yeah. Right.
And Han did not shoot first.
Oh, wait.
Han did shoot first.
Yes, he did.
You're fucking right, he did.
As he should have.
I saw it until Lucas fucked with it. Motherfucker. Anyway, guess tying into the end of that conversation, what's got me geeked was we are at the conclusion of the epic Disney vacation now. We did our thing. We spent the 2 weeks there. Actually, just short of 2 weeks because we panic flew out a day early because the giant snowstorm we were supposed to get in the Northeast canceled every flight into Syracuse on that Friday. So we ended up coming in Thursday night by way of Detroit, Michigan to Rochester. And then out of the kindness of one of my old buddies, actually, Jeremy, JT, you guys met him at episode 100. He was the original co-host here. He drove out from his house to Rochester at 1:00 in the morning and picked us up and brought us home.
Wow.
Yeah. We made it at home at 3:30 Friday morning. So yeah, the last day kind of sucked. Last day and a half kind of sucked because we're in Universal Studios trying to enjoy that whole thing, and I get the email saying, guess what, your flights have been canceled. So I got to stay up until 3:00 the next morning trying to find a way home. It was good times there, but up to that, everything was awesome. I reached out to you guys a couple times. I think during the trip, I posted a little bit of it. Most of the pictures went through the personal Facebook account, which I got scolded about halfway through my trip, saying people are wanting to see pictures, people being me, as I understand it. Yeah. It was Kevin. He texted me and he was like, dude, what the fuck? The best picture I have not posted yet, and that was a shot from behind of me flying the Millennium Falcon. Kristen, instead of doing her job in the cockpit that she was supposed to be doing, was taking pictures, and she caught an awesome picture of me. You see me from behind wearing the GeekPod hat, so the logo's emblazoned right there, as I'm going through hyperspace flying the Millennium Falcon.
That's awesome.
Yes, that will be my new profile picture, and I'll throw it in with this stuff.
We're gonna talk about that later.
What the email to you guys? I mean, the text message to you guys? Or
No. You flying the Millennium Falcon. I'm glad there's a picture.
Oh God, this is gonna be the new segment, isn't it? It was everything I wanted it to be. Just Galaxy's Edge by itself. It was phenomenal. Kevin, I can't wait until August when you get to go experience it.
May. It's May.
May. Okay, I thought it was August. That's good.
They moved it up.
Good. That's good, because that means you'll be available for our appearance in August in Vernon Downs. So cool. Such an expensive vacation.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I'm afraid to see the credit card bill. I bought myself some really cool shit that's not here yet because it's coming back with my father-in-law. He's driving it back for us. Some of the stuff is large. I've got the I can never pronounce it. The hollow chessboard in the Millennium Falcon. The Jurassic game or whatever from the original movie.
Oh, I don't think I ever knew what that was called.
Yeah, I own it now. They made it's not
really
hollow.
hologram.
No, these are actual figurines and everything of it. It also flips over to be useful as actual checkers. They have Star Wars checkers on it. I had to bring something back, and it was my second choice because my first choice was a legit replica of the Han Solo vest, but they didn't have it in my fat ass size. So I tried. I was looking. So that's coming back. I got myself some chance cubes because why wouldn't I just get regular six-sided dice that just have red and blue stickers on them? We got to do everything we wanted to do. The rides were amazing. Hands down, though, I mean, if it weren't for the experience of flying the Millennium Falcon, hands down, the best ride that we were on was the Avatar Flight of Passage ride. That is disgustingly awesome. Like, that is a ride that people are waiting 3 hours in line to get on. And it was amazing. I didn't wait 3 hours for anything. We waited less than 20 minutes for anything.
Nice.
And that was due to my children's disabilities. So we got to do everything much quicker. So that was pretty awesome. But a great time was had by all. Like I said, I couldn't have asked for a better one. And we had a lot of fun doing a lot of other things. Kristen got her nose pierced while we were down there, something she'd been talking about for a long time. I had the opportunity to get a new tattoo. I decided it was a bad idea to get a fresh tattoo and then be stuck out in the sun for days at a time. So that'll be happening while I'm back in town.
Do you have a hitching post where you chain her when you're not using her?
Kristen?
Yeah.
I mean,
He wishes.
Right. That would be better.
Well, I'm just thinking because originally the only people that had nose rings were slaves.
Well, she doesn't have it like through the bull ring. She did the.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, my wife's nose ring piercing still. We're approaching a year, and it still gives her issues.
Does it? So far, so good with Chris. Hers has been behaving itself. Hold on. I just realized that I have to respond to something there. But yeah, that was what did it for me. That was so good. So much cool shit. I can't even, I mean, I would take the entire show to have to talk about this. But the one thing that I put in the notes that the high point for me was flying the Millennium Falcon ... poorly. I bounced it off of a few cavern walls.
Did
It
it
was
really seem real? Was it really that good?
yes, it was awesome. They did a fantastic job with it. The only problem is you have to rely on other people. Like there's a pilot and a co-pilot, and each one
Has a job.
takes care. Yes, you each have a job, and one person takes care of left, right. The other one takes care of up, down. And so we all know how I am about, letting go of responsibility. So I'm barking orders at my mom. She was my co-pilot. They tell you when you have to punch it to hyperspace, and she had no idea what she was doing. So I'm reaching over and slapping the hyperspace. Yeah, I kind of took over the whole cockpit myself. But it was freaking awesome. And then of course now that we've been home a week, now the news comes out that Galactic Star Cruiser, the hotel is open. So
Oh wow.
yeah. So yeah, it's good times. I'm not gonna take the rest of the show to do all this. I think that about does it. So guys, what are you playing?
Now, I'm actually less concerned with what I'm playing and more concerned, Paul, with what you played on the way down to Florida. If you actually got there.
I got to Florida, yes.
Got to playing.
I didn't get to play it. I bought the damn thing. It was loaded into the Switch, and I never got to pull it out on the plane.
That's too bad.
And then the whole time at the resort, I obviously didn't get to play that because the kids were around. And then, like I said, the flight back was pretty damn hectic, so that wasn't a thing. I watched a really, really great movie on the way back instead.
You're reviewing that, right?
Nope.
Oh, come on.
I gave you guys my review via text message already.
All right. Well, I'm still I'm more into now Dying Light to Stay Human. Really enjoying the game. There are a lot of people that complain saying it's not nearly as good as the first. I mean, there are some things that I prefer the first over. I don't feel like I'm far enough into it to really say, hey, if I like it, if it's not as good. But I played that a long time ago, and I mean, this is a pretty good game. I'm enjoying myself, running all over the city, killing zombies. The difficulty seems to be spot on. Like I find myself finding a bed and sleeping, and to skip the nights so that I only go out in the day because things get a little crazy at night. It's not as bad as the first game was, but it's still it puts you on edge. And what's neat is as you're going along these rooftops, you hear people yelling. Some bandits are trying to rob someone. Someone's being attacked by zombies. There's shit going on all over the place, and you can go and you can involve yourself in these altercations on your way to other places. So it feels, oddly enough, for a game about zombies, very alive.
Nice.
Because there's always stuff going on around that isn't a mark on your map you have to go visit. But the only thing I don't like about the game is in the original game you could repair your weapons. In this game you can't. There are some things you can add a mod to it which will restore some of its durability, but there is no, hey, I found my favorite weapon and I'm going to use it until the end of the game. You're always picking up you have a limit of 24 weapons you can carry at any time, and I have it full because your weapon's going to break. You automatically switch to the next one. You need to do that because it's going to happen in the middle of a fight. It's all melee stuff. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's a good game. I mean, I know a lot of people are disappointed. I'm not upset that I paid day one price for it. I think it's worth it so far.
Nice. If this is good, because the one that we're talking about is right before vacation. I bought Dying Light because of Hugh's rave reviews of the series. Literally, 24 hours before we were getting ready to leave.
Yeah.
So it was fresh in my mind, and I'm like, shit, I need something to do on the plane. So I bought it for the Switch. It was on, what did I tell you? It was on sale for $36 or something.
Yeah.
And I texted him while I'm standing in Walmart, and I'm like, should I do this? And he's like, fuck yeah. So
I mean, there's something really freeing. I mean, it takes some time to get used to the whole free running thing. It's first person, which I think is probably really forgiving because I'm sure I'm making jumps after I've stepped off stuff or too early. And they work that, they program in for that since you can't. It's not like Assassin's Creed Valhalla where you can see the character. So
Right.
climbing things is much easier. But once you get the feel for it, running along, jumping on things, zip line, just it's almost it's a game of kinetic movement. You're
Nice.
constantly moving, and as you get to know the city, it starts to flow more. At first, you're really, and this goes for the first game as well. I mean, you're kind of jittery, like, oh man, I'm never going to get the hang of this. But it's one of those things. You keep doing it, it starts to flow.
Awesome.
And eventually, you know, especially in the first one, I mean, before I was halfway through the game, I really felt like I was in control of the environment, which is pretty neat.
That's awesome. I am looking forward to getting into this, but it's one of those things we still haven't really caught up on anything. Like I said, most of our luggage still isn't here. It's being delivered to us tomorrow. So
Well, Paul, if you want, you can just you can let me borrow the Switch and I'll tell you how it is.
you'll play it. You can get it all figured out. I have no Star Wars games for the Switch, just so you know. 6 months ago, I probably would have said, yeah, go for it. But they just had me hook it up upstairs. So now it actually gets used.
Oh.
So,
Well, you know, I mean, I've even been thinking about picking up a Switch Lite. I keep stopping because I know there aren't enough games on there to really
make
you
it
know, save
worthwhile
money.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can get them refurbished now. I mean, I threw one in my car at GameStop today just for the hell of it. It was like 154.
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
not bad.
Switch, yeah. I mean, you can get them really cheap. You know, Kev. I mean, if you really want one,
I don't want one. I'd borrow
Cheap.
Paul's, but I don't really want one.
it's cheaper than a handgun.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I did get a chance while we were there to fire up one of the games for the Switch, though, and that's Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
Oh.
It was one of the ones we got when we got the Switch, and I'm gonna read the quick little synopsis for you. Bringing together iconic Marvel superheroes and villains from different eras and realities, this branching storyline transport players into a cosmic battle across a myriad of Marvel locations ripped from time and space into the incredible open hub world of Chronopolis. Packed with signature Lego humor for fans of all ages, gamers will go head to head with the time-traveling Kang the Conqueror through many imaginative settings in this fun-filled journey spanning the Marvel universe.
You know, somebody probably got paid like 20 grand to write that. Just
Yeah,
saying.
I'm sure. And it's cool. It's just goofy, stupid fun for the family. We were playing 2 players, so it was me and one of the kids every time, and they are not good gamers. You start off as the Guardians, and it's definitely movie themed Guardians. There's the Milano there and the whole deal, and so you can control the whole team. All 5 of them are out there doing their thing, and you can kind of you hit one of the trigger buttons on the right. I don't know if it's R2 or if it's some weird thing they call it for the Switch, and it'll shoot you off to one of the other characters. So you get to explore with all of them, and you kind of need different characters to do different things. It's pretty neat. It's the first time I played any of the Lego games. Like, it gives you 3 lives, but that means nothing because when you end your 3 lives, you just show up again and start over. But it's pretty cool to play as the Guardians because I'm a big Guardians fan anyway. I'm waiting to get further in the game because apparently Spidey 2099, Moon Knight, like everybody's in this game. So I'm looking forward to getting further into the game. So that means probably a year from now, I'll fire it up again. So.
Yep.
But it's fun. If you just want a cool little time waster, that's one of the ways to go. So. And again, 10 and 12-year-olds, terrible. At least mine.
That's pretty typical for the Lego games, right?
That my kids are horrible at them? Probably.
No, what you described about the gameplay.
Yeah.
Switching characters. That
Is
goes back as far as at least Lego Batman.
Nice.
Maybe further.
Yeah.
I'll have to report back because we also have Lego Jurassic World in our collection.
Oh boy.
So can't imagine whose game that was, right?
Yeah. Since you said the word Jurassic, can I just tell you, with this new Jurassic Park, whatever movie coming out, it gives me the same feeling the original Jurassic Park gave me.
I saw we're in the wrong section for this, but since we brought it up, I saw the trailer during the Super Bowl,
Wow.
and I shit you not, I clapped. Like I did the little kid giggle clap. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
As soon as Sam Neill's character came on, Dr. Alan Grant, I was so excited.
I'm beside myself. I can't wait to see it. Anyway.
Yes. I got to write down now because now I got to put that in.
Giggle like a little kid.
No, the fact that we talked about Jurassic World Dominions, and now I have to link to the trailer. All right. So Kev, what have you been playing?
Oh, I'm embarrassed to say it.
You should be.
I am. Just Settlers. Just
Still.
fucking game. It's gotten a little bit better, not much, but back to what it used to be. They just got through the Valentine's event. We're still trailing off. There's a cleanup phase after every event. So cleanup phase is you're waiting for all your explorers to come back. You're waiting for your your production machines to wind down, and we're in that phase right now. So another couple days and that'll be done.
Nice.
I think there's an Easter event is next because you collect eggs for special things. But yeah, I don't know. There's some people that are having some really hard times with it. There's a guy in my guild that lost access to his account. Support, Ubisoft support will not, or Blue Byte actually is what it is. That's an Ubisoft company, but Blue Byte is the game developer. They will not get back to him. They will not help him get access to his original account.
Ooh.
And he's had that account for like 5 years, and so or more. Level 70 in a game where level 80 is your max level, and you could probably get. I've actually watched people get up to level 45 or so within a month or so, but every level after that is very, very difficult. I mean, it's a lot of experience, it's a lot of gameplay, it's a lot of a lot of churn and burn to get to those higher levels. And some people, they pay money for the gems or the thing that you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
People do that, and you see them in the global chat when they get upset. They've had the end of it. They're at the end of the rope. They just let it fly, and it's I've got some friends there though that I hang out with, and I'm high enough level now that I can help some other folks. So that's fun for me. Still, give me something to do.
Nice.
I'm just not. I'm getting to be less and less of a gamer all the time. I'm playing Just Cause 3 every once in a while. I got to tell you, I pushed myself farther in Just Cause 3. The storyline and the gameplay,
Good stuff.
Pretty freaking good.
Nice.
There's some really neat shit in there. They've got a wingsuit, and there's this material called Bavarium that nothing like barium.
I was thinking it's like the stuff inside of a donut, the vanilla pudding.
The cream.
The cream, yeah, no, nothing like that either. This is blue and it's kind of like lightning. So if you have that reaction to cream-based, foods, then maybe it is like that. You get to this point where your wingsuit, you got a wingsuit, you got a parachute is part of your way to get around. You got the grappling hook and that fires off your wrist, and you got a wing parachute you can float around. Well, there's also a wingsuit, so you deploy the wingsuit and now you can kind of float down. Well, there's a point where it becomes Bavarium charged, and you can actually use it to accelerate and fly. So you can actually fly around, and it's actually got some weapons connected to it, a rocket launcher and auto cannon of some sort. So it's gotten pretty cool, and
Nice.
It's pretty. Some of the controls are kind of difficult to master, so it keeps me interested. So there's that. I mean, that's probably the best game that I'm playing right now, and that's, I don't know, Just Cause is what, 10 years old now, 8, 9 years old, whatever it is. So.
And I've still not played any of the games in that series.
Yeah, I just skip over all of them. Just play Just Cause 3 if you're gonna play any of them. Or the newest one. I think, what's the newest one? 4?
I think
4,
it's 4,
5?
yeah. It
I
could
think
be 5, but I know there's a
don't know.
4.
I don't know. I'd be tempted to play the newest one. You know, if the gameplay got any better, if the storyline got any better, I'd do it.
Excuse me.
No.
Nice. No excuse for me. Jesus.
Not here. We told you that earlier.
Yes. So it sounds like it's time for Kev's tabletop review.
Today, I want to do something a little bit different. I don't get an opportunity, I think you probably know this by now, to play all the games that I talk about. I find some really cool games. I like to talk about them because there's something that I would like to have and to play with friends. I don't get an opportunity to play all these games that I have, and I have quite a few, but we did get a chance to play One Night Ultimate Werewolf. I know we said we were going to play it Halloween night, and that just didn't work out. We just had too many people here, and we just had such a good time that, the games just didn't come out. So we got a chance to play it last weekend, and a friend of mine came over, and 3 of us, my wife and I and my friend, got a chance to play it, and we had a really, really, really good time. I wrote a little bit about it. It doesn't really tell you the details about it. I'm going to read this, and then I'll tell you a little bit about what it all means. So this time is my own review after having finally played the game. 3 of us sat down to learn the hows and wherefores. We learned very quickly that it's all about convincing the other players who you are, who you think you are, or who you are not. The goal is to get as many players as possible to single out the right or the wrong players so that your team wins. Will it be the villagers or the werewolves? This game is a freaking riot, and it's one that you're going to want to play over and over again. Now, what that means is there's different characters in the game. There's the villager, there's the seer, there's werewolves, obviously. There's a doppelganger. There's some other really interesting characters, and you have to learn the nuances of those characters. The way the game works, and I did explain this in the original review for it, but you have an app on your phone, and it's very important that you use the app, because what the app does is it tells you, based on the players you pick, and you look at the game, and you pick the version of the game you have, and then you pick the players that are in the game. So for a 3-player game, there are 6 different player cards that are used, 3 that are distributed and 3 that sit in the middle, because you have to have some that you just don't know what's going on. So you pick those 6, and then you hit start, and then the narrator walks you through what to do. So everybody goes to sleep. So you close your eyes, put your head down, and go to sleep. And then it has specific player characters wake up at specific points. So you wake up, you look around, and you do what it says. Sometimes you just look around, you see, is there any of the werewolves? Other times you have to look at a card in the center. A robber would take someone else's card and give them theirs. So now you've changed roles, and the robber gets to look at the card to know what they are. I forget what the player type is, but it's a troublemaker. A troublemaker will actually change 2 people's cards. So now they don't know that their character types have changed. They still think what they are, whatever was originally in front of them. So they might act like a villager, or they might try to convince you they're not a werewolf. The whole idea is the more people that single out individuals, the better. So if there's 3 of us playing and 2 of us pick one person to die, then that person dies, and then the rest of the people flip their cards over. And if any one of them is a werewolf, the werewolves win. The werewolves have attacked the village, and they have killed everybody in the village. If the 2 people that are left are villagers and the werewolf dies, the village lives, and they're able to go on and play, and they've lived and the werewolves died. So that's a good thing. So you have to ask yourself, do you want the werewolves to win, or do you want the village to win? And then you play accordingly. If I'm the werewolf, I may try to convince you that I'm a villager. Try to convince the other person, other people playing, that Paul is the werewolf. And if I can do so convincingly, then everybody points at Paul. Paul dies, the werewolf lives, werewolves win. So it's very, very interesting to watch someone go through the gyrations of thinking they're a villager when, as a troublemaker, I know I've swapped their cards, and the person that was a villager is now a werewolf, and they're still acting like a villager. So there's a lot of really, really interesting nuances like this to the game. People may not know who they are. They just continue to act like what they are. They have to convince themselves. I have played the game where I have said, I started out as a werewolf. I know for a fact that I started as a werewolf. I also know for a fact my card was switched. There's no way for me to know that because I can't look at my card once the gameplay starts. If I was truly a werewolf, I don't know if somebody switched my card, but if I can convince you that it was, I'm no longer the werewolf in your eyes. So it's a very, very fun game. You play the round. Once the round is done, and the narrator walks you right through it. You have 5 minutes to figure out who's who. And once it's done, and everybody picks, and that's it. That's the way the game is played. When the round is done, it's done, and then you go on and you play the game again. It was so much fun, that I can't wait until we can get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people together and play with a much larger group, more character types, and just to see how it goes. It's very, very fun.
That sounds awesome. Also reminds me a bit of the app Among Us.
Okay. There's several games like this, as I understand. This is like a genre of games where you have to convince people who you are, who you're not. Bang is very similar to this. Bang's got a little bit of a twist to it, but I will buy more games like this and there are more games in the series.
Very cool. Yeah. Awesome. And now do our good friends that Play the Game Read the Story sell this?
They did, and that's where I got it.
Awesome.
I don't know if you remember the original review, there were 2 games that I bought there right before Halloween. It was this one and another one that was made by a local company that was in Syracuse that had gone under during the pandemic. We have not yet still had a chance to play that game, but we're going to. Game pieces look great. The storyline looks great. So we're looking forward to that. But yes, this is available to Play the Game, Read the Story, as well as some of the derivatives. And I just looked on BoardGameGeek.com before the show, and it looks like there are expansion packs. Now I don't know if it's a true expansion pack or if it's just another version of the game that can be played standalone or combined. I'm not sure how that works. I think there's a way to combine games, and then you end up with more characters. You can end up with more people, and which would be a lot of fun actually. So
heck yeah, sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time. Really good time.
Very cool. Well, I think it's a good time to throw it to break, and then we'll come back with the news. Stick with us, guys. Looking for the hottest new comic on the shelf or a keyback issue to complete your run? How about that rare statue or action figure that you've scoured the internet looking for? Come to Collectibles Galore, located in North Syracuse with ample off-street parking. Collectibles Galore has a huge selection of comics, toys, and rare pop culture items you won't find anywhere else. Comics Galore is always buying comics and toys and will give you the fairest price for your collection. New customers get 15% off their first purchase in store. Collectibles Galore for all of your pop culture needs. Stop in and see for yourself why Collectibles Galore is the king of comics. The 4th annual Sci-Fi Horror Fest is coming with an all-new location, new guests, and all the same fun, charm, and camaraderie that you've come to know and love. Sci-Fi Horror Fest has a new home for 2022 at the Vernon Downs Casino and Hotel in Vernon, New York. Sci-Fi Horror Fest will be held on August 26th and 27th. Sci-Fi Horror Fest is a family-friendly event featuring fun activities, vendors, and a media area with an eclectic group of podcast personalities. Exciting celebrity guest appearances will be announced soon. For more information and to purchase tickets, go to www.sci-fi-horrorfest.com. Sci-Fi Horror Fest is currently looking for volunteers. This is your chance to be a part of the fun. Please note, details of the event are subject to change due to any lasting issues due to COVID-19.
Now, before we accept that a country known for violating human rights and threatening to take over independent countries is offering to step in and stop the human rights violations and takeover of Ukraine by Russia out of the goodness of their hearts, there goes our Chinese audience. Again. Here's the news. First up, in Soviet Russia, the bull rides you. Sanctions and condemnations are the new thoughts and prayers. Russia began invading Ukraine under false pretenses in the past week. It's as if Putin learned from America that in the past 5 years, if you repeat a lie often enough, at least half of people will believe it. They claim everything from Ukraine being full of Nazis to them perpetuating genocide against ethnic Russians in the country. The world is up in arms. The entire community is angry, but not enough to actually do anything. This is basically like catching the school bully beating the shit out of someone half his size. And instead of breaking up the fight, you take away his allowance for the next week. I'm sure it's going to hurt once he's done nearly killing the kid, but does not address the current and present issue of him beating the shit out of someone half his size. Surprisingly enough, Putin's little dick energy is running into a wall of Volodymyr Zelensky's enormous, big enough to see from space, solid tungsten balls. The previously thought of joke of a politician elected president of Ukraine is successfully holding back the Russian invasion for the time being. Staying in the capital and digging in with his men, he has shown bravery and is becoming a hero of sorts all over the world. The invasion so far has been an embarrassment to Russians and vodka-drinking bears all across the world. Next up, Kevin Feige makes liars of us all. Another famous actor has come out as lying about their involvement in an MCU movie. Joining Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, Patrick Stewart has walked back the statement that it was not his voice we heard in the Super Bowl trailer for Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. This confirms the Fox Universe Professor X is making an appearance and technically makes 2000's X-Men the first movie in the MCU. As far as if I can ever trust Captain Picard again, well, shame on you, Jean-Luc. Next up, keep on rolling. So did you hear about the trucker protest that was going to roll into Washington, D.C. this week to protest the COVID lockdown? Neither did I. Now, talk about picking a bad week to get visibility for your cause. The Ukraine invasion story has taken up so much media time that I'm not sure they ever actually went through with it. One trucker was quoted as saying they were doing it because it was time and the lockdown has to end. What in the half the country hasn't been wearing masks anyway? Fuck is he talking about? China went into fucking lockdown. This was a suggestion with rules to wear masks in public places. Most of those were loosened last year, and with the exception of schools, that's happening right now as we speak. There was barely a lockdown. Only half of us followed it, and it's been over for like a year. Are you just pissed the Canadians thought of it first? Sure, shit was closed down for a while. There were a few school closings, but it sure looks to me like year 2 of this was just masks and vaccinations for the most part. And the left gets accused of virtue signaling. What would the opposite of that be? Well, according to the internet, it might be weakness, inefficacy, corruption, vice, immorality, or weakness signaling. But what do I know? And finally, in the palm of your hand, the latest development in Gabe Newell's quest to deliver anything and everything but Half-Life 3, Valve's Steam Deck, has arrived. For those who don't know, the Steam Deck is a powerful gaming computer as a portable handheld device. It's married to Steam and has access to thousands of games right out of the box. However, not all of those games work. Most reviewers are saying it's a great technical accomplishment and works as intended mostly. Bugs are patched daily, and some games struggle with the dual Linux and Windows system. Overall, it seems like it's a step in the right direction, but further iterations might be closer to the intended ideal. The truth is, I could not build a gaming PC this powerful for the $400 this thing costs. It's amazing what they packed in there, and they have half a year of pre-orders to fill, so success is pretty much guaranteed. Or they could have made Half-Life 2 and printed money. It's like the goal was pizza, and there was a pizza shop next door and one on top of a mountain, so they climbed a mountain. I don't believe Gabe Newell has ever declined next door pizza. And that's the news, kids. Now, I'm sure at the top of the show, Paul told us all about his vacation to Disney and Star Wars land. Just to stay on point with my fact checking, I felt I had to interject. I saw pictures of him flying the Millennium Falcon on Facebook. If he tries telling you he made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs, don't believe him. His wife says he's only good for 3 parsecs at best. Paul?
In other news, more redheads are born in Scotland than in any other part of the world. Back to you, Paul. Okay, so this week's movie, as you should be able to tell, is Blues Brothers, and here's the synopsis. After his release from prison, Jake, played by John Belushi, reunites with his brother Elwood, Dan Aykroyd, collectively known as the Blues Brothers. Jake's first task is to save the orphanage the brothers grew up in from closing by raising $5,000 to pay back taxes. The two are convinced they can earn the money by getting their old band back together. However, after playing several gigs and making a few enemies, including the police, the brothers face daunting odds to deliver the money on time. The movie was released on June 20th, 1980. The director was John Landis. Music was composed by Elmer Bernstein and Ira Newborn. The budget was $30 million. And the screenplay was by Dan Aykroyd and John Landis. It's a very, very quotable movie. I've got the top 10 quotes here. Number 1, there's 106 miles to Chicago. We've got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark out, and we're wearing sunglasses. Number 2, we're on a mission from God. 3, I hate Illinois Nazis. 4, how much for the little girl? 5, that's just great, Elwood. The day I get out of prison, my own brother picks me up in a goddamn police car. 6, you can't lie to him, none, Jake. 7, so Jake, you're out. You're free. You're rehabilitated. What's next? What's happening? What are you going to do? You got the money you owe us, motherfucker? Number 8, you're going to look pretty funny trying to eat corn on the cob with no fucking teeth. Number 9, I don't believe it. It's that shitbox Dodge again. And finally, number 10, I ran out of gas. I had a flat tire. I didn't have enough money for cab fare. My tux didn't come back from the cleaners. An old friend came in from out of town. Someone stole my car. There was an earthquake, a terrible flood, locusts. It wasn't my fault. I swear to God, it wasn't my fault. Some of the best moments in the movie are the cameos. There's a who's who of blues legends and stars from the late 70s, including Carrie Fisher. The police car pile up is phenomenal in this. It's ridiculous. I'm hoping you guys have seen this. I know Hugh, you haven't, right?
No, I've seen this
Okay.
once years ago.
The fact that there's a whole thing about Illinois Nazis is in it, and the opening sequence where Elwood, played by Dan Aykroyd, comes to pick up Jake from prison in a recently bought cop car, and his reaction to it. What I like about this movie is the rude, irreverent humor that was a staple of the original Saturday Night Live, since this was a spinoff of one of the skits from there. The awesome music, and as I said above, the quotable, memorable lines. I give this movie 4 stars. I think it's a great movie. Whenever I find it on, I'll sit down and watch it. I even went out of my way and ordered a copy of this on Blu-ray. I love this movie. I went looking for the Blues Brothers when we were in Universal Studios. They still do a stage show there of the Blues Brothers, but they weren't playing the day we were there. Like I said, I give it 4 stars, but our good friend Roger Ebert, he says it's a 3-star movie. And this is what he had to say. This is some weird movie. There's never been anything that looked quite like it. Was it dreamed up in a junkyard? It stars John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd as the Blues Brothers, Jake and Elwood, characters who were created on Saturday Night Live and took on a fearsome life of their own. The movie tells us something of their backgrounds. They were reared in a sadistic West Side orphanage, learned the blues by osmosis, and as the movie opens, have teamed up again after Jake's release from the Joliet pen. The movie's plot is a simple one, to put it mildly. The brothers visit their old orphanage, learn that its future is in jeopardy because of $5,000 due in back taxes, and determine to raise the money by getting their old band back together and putting on a show. Their odyssey takes them to several sleazy Chicago locations, including a Van Buren Flophouse, Maxwell Street, and Lower Wacker Drive. They find their old friends in unlikely places, like a restaurant run by Aretha Franklin, a music shop run by Ray Charles, and a gospel church run by James Brown. Their adventures include run-ins with suburban cops, good old boys, and Nazis who are trying to stage a demonstration. One of the intriguing things about this movie is the way it borrows so freely and literally from news events. The plot develops into a sort of musical mad world, with the Blues Brothers being pursued at the same time by avenging cops, Nazis, and an enraged country and western band led by Charles Napier, that character actor with the smile like Jaws. The chase is interrupted from time to time for musical numbers, which are mostly very good and filled with high-powered energy. Aretha Franklin occupies one of the movie's best scenes in her Southside soul food restaurant. Cab Calloway, is a sort of road manager for the Blues Brothers, struts through a wonderful old-style production of Minnie the Moocher. The brothers themselves star in several improbable numbers. The funniest has the band playing in a country and western bar where wire mesh has been installed to protect the band from beer bottles thrown by the customers. I was saying the musical numbers interrupt the chase. The fact is, the whole movie is a chase, with Jake and Elwood piloting a used police car that seems, as it hurtles across suspension bridges from one side to the other, to have a life of its own. There can rarely have been a movie that makes so free with its locations as this one. There are incredible, sensational chase sequences under the elevated train tracks, on overpasses, in subway tunnels, under the loop, and literally through Daly Center. One crash in particular, a pileup involving maybe a dozen police cars, I'd say there's more than that, has to be seen to be believed. I've never seen stunt coordination like this before. What's a little startling about the movie is that all of this works. The Blues Brothers cost untold millions of dollars and kept threatening to grow completely out of control, but director John Landis of Animal House has somehow pulled it together with a good deal of help from the strongly defined personalities of the title characters. Belushi and Aykroyd come over as hard-boiled city guys, total cynics with a worldview of sublime simplicity, and that all fits perfectly with the movie's other parts. There's even room in the midst of the carnage and mayhem for a surprising amount of grace, humor, and whimsy.
That was it.
That was it.
I saw this movie once when I was young, maybe a teenager or something. I had heard about it for years. Oh, this is the greatest movie. Maybe it'd be different on an adult viewing, but I was expecting it to be hilarious, and it was. I mean, there were funny parts, but it was more weird, and it probably didn't help that I had never seen the skits it was based on. So I was just kind of like, who the fuck are these guys? I didn't get it.
Kind of like I didn't get The Green Knight.
Yeah.
I love this movie. It's one of those that, again, like I just love the stupid, rude humor of the whole thing. I mean, it clinches it for me, the whole scene when they first go back to see the Penguin, as they call her, and it devolves into her just beating the shit out of both of them with the ruler until it breaks and Belushi falls down the stairs stuck in the school desk, and it just shatters on the floor. I love that shit. And again, I thought the music was phenomenal in that movie. The sequel to it, Blues Brothers 2000, not the best, not the best in the least. So
you do know that there's people that live their life as if they're Blues Brothers, right?
Yes, we have some in Central New York that do the whole thing. Yeah.
I met him at the fair.
Did you? Nice.
Get my picture taken with him.
Awesome. You should post that.
Oh yeah, it's on Facebook or something.
That doesn't surprise me.
A few years back. No, I've seen this movie more times than I can count. It's hilarious.
Good. See, it's hard for me when I'm reading off the review stuff because I can't see you guys, so I don't know what your reactions are to me doing all of this. And it made it harder with the sunglasses this time, by the way. So, but yeah, personally love this film. Watch it whenever it's on. That's for you, Corbs. Kelly, make sure you tell him. All right, what do you guys say we wrap this show up? We'll kick it to commercial break and finish our stuffs.
Well, yeah, we can do that. But before we do,
Oh, you have something?
do you have a WTF file this week?
I do.
Okay, then I'm going to throw this in here right now, just before.
Please
we go to
do.
break. I get a weird email the other day, and I have in my Yahoo folder or my Yahoo, I have my regular inbox, and then I have a spam folder. And every once in a while, like maybe every 2 weeks, I'll go over to the spam folder because once in a while something gets shuffled there that shouldn't. I think that happens to everybody. And I see lots of weird advertisements, and there's all sorts of like nasty stuff that shows up in your spam because that's what it's for. But I saw this one, and just the way it was listed, I saw it, ignored it. A few days later, went back. Finally, I'm like, you know what? I shouldn't click on this, but it's my phone. I'm not going to get a virus on my computer. I just need to open this email because the name of the email was The Squirting.
Oh,
And I'm just like, even for like foreign trying to get you to put your credit card in emails, I mean, that's awful, awful grammar. It's like, it's clearly, obviously something bad. So I opened this up. I just want to read this to you, okay? This is what somebody said, that they actually expected someone to click on this to get money from them. And the fact that they're doing it means it must work. So there are people out here that open this email and click on the links, okay? All right. It says, like coconut water, turmeric, and coronavirus, squirting is having its moment. Squirting is when fluid comes gushing out of a woman's vagina, often accompanied by intense orgasm. It's like having a super soaker between your legs, but not for kids, of course. She can't do it by herself. Vibrators won't hit the mark. That's one big reason she needs you and your jackhammer. Few guys know how. That's why when you show her the way, she'll become addicted to you for life. And then there's a link to click how to make a woman squirt. Who in the blue fuck is actually going to fall for that?
That's awful.
I mean, I felt dirty even just clicking on the thing, but I'm like, this is ridiculous. Coconut water and turmeric? I immediately took a screenshot and made a note for myself to bring it up here because I don't know, maybe they're all like that. I don't generally click on those emails, but The Squirting. It sounds like an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yes. It also sounds like it'd be a great title, but we cannot use it.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw this out here. I know of a company that's full of very intelligent people that is about to get a email-based phishing test based on current events.
Oh boy.
I guarantee you there will be a high number of failures. People clicking on links because they think they're doing the right thing.
Outstanding.
When they know better. Intelligent people click on that shit all the freaking time. Unsolicited. No idea where it came from. Just curious. Just see where it goes.
Yeah. It's not, it's disheartening is what it is. But I mean, that's the world we live in, and that's why, Kevin, we have jobs. So yeah, on that note, I think we're gonna throw it to commercial and we'll come back with the WTF file. Stick with us, folks. The 4th annual Sci-Fi Horror Fest is coming with an all-new location, new guests, and all the same fun, charm, and camaraderie that you've come to know and love. Sci-Fi Horror Fest has a new home for 2022 at the Vernon Downs Casino and Hotel in Vernon, New York. Sci-Fi Horror Fest will be held on August 26th and 27th. Sci-Fi Horror Fest is a family-friendly event featuring fun activities, vendors, and a media area with an eclectic group of podcast personalities. Exciting celebrity guest appearances will be announced soon. For more information and to purchase tickets, go to www.sci-fi-horrorfest.com. Sci-Fi Horror Fest is currently looking for volunteers. This is your chance to be a part of the fun. Please note, details of the event are subject to change due to any lasting issues due to COVID-19. Looking for the hottest new comic on the shelf or a keyback issue to complete your run? How about that rare statue or action figure that you've scoured the internet looking for? Come to Collectibles Galore. Located in North Syracuse with ample off-street parking, Collectibles Galore has a huge selection of comics, toys, and rare pop culture items you won't find anywhere else. Comics Galore is always buying comics and toys and will give you the fairest price for your collection. New customers get 15% off their first purchase in store. Collectibles Galore for all of your pop culture needs. Stop in and see for yourself why Collectibles Galore is the king of comics. Okay, so this week's WTF file is pretty fresh. It just happened yesterday. I was sitting at my doctor's appointment yesterday morning. My nurse is prepping to draw blood, and she has me extend my arm out. She does all the pokey stuff, and she rolls over to get her good vantage point to insert the needle, and I'm looking away as I always do. I don't like needles, so I don't face her. Not a fan of them at all. Anyways, she's prepping she's poking the vein and everything, and I said to her, and again I'm looking away like this, I said, "You want the fist?" She hesitates for just a second and says, "No, you can relax." And that's when it hits me. And it's everything I can do to keep from laughing like Hugh's doing right now. I just asked this woman if she wants the fist while my hand is literally between her wide open legs.
And she answered you.
Yes. What the fuck?
Good on her.
I drove home so fast so I could jot all this shit down yesterday morning.
How could you forget that?
That I couldn't forget, but it was fucking great.
Paul, there's a voice recorder on your iPhone.
Yeah, I literally live 2 minutes from my doctor's office. I had to drive around the corner.
All right.
So yeah, guys, what you watching?
Go ahead, Kev. You look like you want to launch into something.
I get it. I get it.
Glad to hear that.
Me too.
I get it. I have questions about the ending. I don't understand some of it. But I mean, are we worried about spoilers? Probably at this point.
It's been out a couple of weeks now. It's been all over everything. I think I was the last one to see it because I didn't get to watch it until we got home from vacation.
Why is the bug still okay with Peacemaker? Peacemaker just completely obliterated, committed genocide on this bug, but it's still okay with him
because I think he was the last food source for them.
Okay.
Wait, what?
At the end where they're sitting on the porch and the butterfly shows up.
Yeah. Some of the stuff, but the bug could have just easily flown into his mouth and taken him over.
True, but it's still the same food source. Yeah.
And then gone to find some of that stuff. Because there's no way it's all destroyed. There's boxes of jars around somewhere.
You would think.
So that's the only part that just like, I'm like, wow, this guy just completely obliterated my entire race, and I'm just going to go hang out with him on his porch.
Well, maybe he also understands. They did talk realistically about it, and there were two choices, and they were both kind of morally right.
Right. Yeah, I get that. But but that all aside, I guess I kind of get the whole Peacemaker story now. Poor little boy, abused by his father, doesn't really understand his place in the world, used by the man as a tool, and basically kept ignorant to the whole thing.
Yeah. And trying to be better once he realizes that he's not.
I think that's really the moral of the whole story. Is that's exactly what happened. I think he's really not a bad guy at the end of the story.
Yeah, I mean the one thing about Peacemaker that we saw right from the first movie he was in is that he believes he understands the world and himself, and he finds out over the course. That's why he's such a dick, and he's just so out there.
Yeah.
He thinks he's right. It's not a matter of he's doing evil or he's a bad guy. He really thinks he's one of the good guys and doesn't get it. He's not self-aware, and that's what the show did, was made him self-aware.
Yeah.
I'm very, very anxious to see what they do with season 2.
Did both of you guys know this story? I mean, have you read the comic book so you knew what was going to happen? Oh, okay.
No,
I don't even know if this is based on a particular comic book or not.
I'm thinking not with the way James Gunn works. I think this was his own brainchild, because I think Peacemaker may have had one short run of comics himself. Like he's always been like kind of like a
walk-on
D-list character that was acquired in the purchase from Charlton by DC like years ago. His real biggest contribution was being the basis for the comedian in Watchmen.
Yeah.
So, but now, I mean, I think you're going to see him get a much bigger part.
I know Kevin picks on you about being a James Gunn fanboy. I'm not. I mean, I like pretty much everything I've seen him done, but seen him do, but I don't know him. I don't follow him. That's not a concern for me when evaluating a piece of media. But I have to say, maybe after this, I am, because I really think that show was masterfully done, and probably couldn't have come out of anyone else's head, even for someone like Kevin who thought it was stupid to begin with and didn't understand it. To bring him around that much shows that the guy's that's smart storytelling.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need more of that.
Yes.
So help me out. The opening dance sequence, does that tell a story? Is there a message there?
No. There's nothing there other than it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, I refuse to believe that. There's more to it.
No, listen to the companion podcast that they advertise after every episode, because the first episode has an interview with James Gunn, and he talks about it, how he literally just wanted something ridiculous, and the choreographer came up with that masterpiece herself, and like he demanded that they were stone-faced through the whole thing. Like he wanted no emotion from them doing this ridiculous dance number.
By the end of it, I look forward to seeing it at the beginning of every episode. Kathy and I would just sit there and laugh our asses off. And the whole stone-faced and flipping people off. I mean, but I honestly, we're gonna find out the choreographer knew something about the story, and that she built in something into that dance that Gunn and no one else knew about. We're going to find this out. I thoroughly believe that, because there are some moves that they do that could very easily represent either Peacemaker putting his helmet on and becoming something that he's not, or the mask that what was the girl's name? What's her name's daughter? Whatever her name was. The mask she wore through the whole thing. I mean, there's something in there about the characters in the story. I swear to God.
One that stood out to me was when Myrn and Harcourt come out and they almost look like they're puppets.
Right. And they come up from the side and they're all, puppet like. I mean,
Mhm.
there's something to it. Okay. The choreographer knew something about the story, the way Gunn was doing it. She had to have. She had to have seen some of the first episode or second episode or something, or read something, because there are things in that dance that directly relate to things that happened in the show. I thoroughly believe that.
It's a possibility.
Mhm. Except for the janitor that doesn't actually appear in the show anywhere, does he?
Yeah, he does.
First episode.
Does he?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Very first
actually,
episode.
and when Peacemaker's talking at school, he's
Yeah.
there too,
Oh,
because it's
okay.
his
Yeah.
kid that brought him in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy that they shared a joint or something while he was in the
Yeah.
hospital.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh no, I'm talking about the old guy. Maybe not the janitor. The old guy. The old white.
The old guy was the neighbor.
That's
was
a
his
neighbor.
father's neighbor.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's a neighbor.
Yeah.
But
So-
killing your father, I mean, that's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. Some crazy shit
Yeah.
there.
Great
And
sh-
that was
great show.
also a twist from the comics, apparently. Apparently, those two characters have no ties to each other in the comics. That was
Hmm.
made for the show.
Well, like
Um,
you say, if the one wasn't that deep, then that was easy to do.
Yeah. And now while I was on vacation and you guys were raving about this via our group text, you said the single best scene from any DC movie
Yep.
was that
Of course it
the
was.
cameos.
Yes. The cameo that people are bitching about. I can't fucking.
Who's bitching about it?
People are complaining about that?
Yes, because Cyborg wasn't in it, so it's all about.
Neither was
racism.
Batman.
Yeah, Cyborg and Batman, and both of them. I don't know.
So who was there? There was Aquaman,
Flash,
Superman,
Superman,
Flash.
and Wonder Woman.
Oh, that was Wonder Woman. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the core four? Fuck off.
The fact
Fuck
that
you-
they got even.
Fuck you,
that-
Barry.
I loved
that
that.
was brilliant. Oh,
The best part of that whole thing is they're all doing their like heroic shit, and fucking Peacemaker just stomps through and says, "You're fucking late." I love that. That was the perfect way to end that show. That was
Yeah.
great.
That was good. And I was really, really surprised that they got Momoa. And that was the actor for
Flash,
Flash,
yes.
right?
Yeah,
The new actor.
Ezra
I don't-
Miller. But
Okay,
it
I don't
was
know his name.
it was body doubles for Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot. They
I
were
was
not
pretty sure.
obviously,
They
since
didn't
they
show their
never really
faces,
showed
so,
them. Yeah.
Yeah. You figure they don't show their faces, so yeah, whatever. But that was cool. I mean, Momoa showed up and the other guy, the Flash, the guy there. So it
Yeah,
was-
I love that they could come and have fun with it too. You know what I mean?
yeah.
didn't I read somewhere that they Marvel actually filmed that for them?
Really?
Yes, it was. What it was is somebody. Fuck. He had filmed a screen test. I can't remember what it is now. There's some crossover there from when he was doing Guardians, and they had done a favor for DC, so they actually returned the favor. I believe it was for that scene, so it was actually
Gotcha.
filmed
Oh, wow.
on a. I could be. I know that happened. Maybe it wasn't that scene. I'm pretty sure it was though.
Okay.
Shit. I'll have to look it up now.
So you're talking? It was just a studio owned by Marvel.
Or maybe it was a Marvel.
It was
they-
probably
no,
during the
they
Guardians shoot.
Yeah, they
were like,
actually
okay,
filmed it
Oh,
on the Marvel
oh,
soundstage.
I got
That's
it,
cool.
I got it. I don't understand what people can be complaining about. I mean, they're complaining
stupid.
because the
Yeah.
well, other than the fact that the other two characters weren't there, they were complaining because the Justice League didn't get
Okay.
involved. Wasn't their fight? Wasn't their deal?
James Gunn reveals Peacemaker season 1 finale surprise DC cameo was actually filmed by the Marvel crew working on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Oh wow,
nice.
neat. That's neat.
Yeah, that is cool. I'm trying to remember what was because he had done a screen test. He did the Peacemaker crew filmed Chuck Woody Iwuji's screen test for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, yeah, because he's got
Yeah.
apparently a pretty significant part in Guardians 3. And that's good because that guy was awesome. So I'm pretty sure I know who he's playing in Guardians 3, but I don't want to spoil that. So, and it should be a really cool part.
Well, as long as you don't spoil Tony Khan's announcement for tonight's Dynamite, I'm good.
Didn't he already do that?
It was off mic though.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Fuck you, Barry.
Yeah, so for everyone at home, we come into the show before we start recording the very first segment. Now, I've been, Tony Khan's been saying he has a big announcement for tonight's Dynamite, so I was going to stay off social media until I can watch it tomorrow. We come in to the Zoom meeting. The first thing Paul says, "Hey, Tony Khan's got an announcement," and tells me what it apparently was before I even had a chance to say a word. So it's just
he didn't even get a chance to be like, "Don't stop." Sorry.
Anyway, moving on.
Moving on. So The Walking Dead's back.
Yeah.
What do you guys think so far?
So far, so good. I really hope that the whole Daryl and Carol show isn't a red herring, because they seem to be moving Daryl into Rick's position in the comics, and that doesn't end well.
Yeah.
I'm going to be really pissed off if that's the case. I mean, if you can take this many liberties with the source material, you can take a liberty here, and because I want to see the Daryl and Carol show. I think that would be a shot in the arm for the franchise.
Mm-hmm. And where did Negan go?
Yeah, is he gone? That's a good question.
He's not gone. I can't see them writing him out.
Well, people are saying that maybe they're going the comics route and he's going to live alone, and then Maggie will find him and then she's going to kill him and says, "No, I won't. You're too pathetic." But she kind of already did that once before.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be, again, taking liberties with the source material. He's been around longer than he should have already. He's a good character. Keep him there.
Right.
Be irritating for them to course correct now when, now we like the guy. I mean, we were supposed to only kind of like him before. He's actually had somewhat of a redemption arc, there. I don't want to see that same stupid bullshit. I want to see him there at the end.
Yeah.
I just want to meet Jeffrey D. Morgan someday. Him and his wife live in upstate New York here, out in the Rome area. So I would love someday to be out on a motorcycle and come across him and Norman Reedus riding their bikes. I just think that'd be the fucking shit.
Doesn't he also have I think we talked about this before. He is half owner of a candy shop with Paul Rudd. Yeah.
Yep.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So far so good. Like you said, though, I'm enjoying this season. I'm glad to have the original show back.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
For the first time in like 5 years, it's better than the spinoffs.
Yeah. I thought it'd be a little bit weird in the direction they took. But I kind of get it. There's so much, weirdness going on within the Commonwealth that it kind of fits that our people would be there to kind of, weave in and out of it and kind of figure out what's going on.
And Sebastian's a douche.
Is he?
He seems to be, yes.
Is he?
I think he is.
He's a little man with a lot of power, or wants a lot of power.
Yes.
Just as long as he doesn't invade Ukraine.
Well, maybe planning just that.
I do think that even though I know the source material, yeah, there are some problems there, but it's working. Our characters always have to show up and fuck up every other settlement they find.
Very true.
Just to adjust things to their moral compass, which isn't necessarily wrong, but it's also not necessarily right.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Well, I mean, it was like Carol said in the episode. Maybe we don't have to
fix something.
Yeah.
So. Right. Well, I always go back to there was an episode of The Walking Dead where they posited that if you had come into The Walking Dead at the time or from a different angle and actually come into Negan's world and then saw Rick's people come in, you would think that Rick's people were evil. What happened with them and what they did to Negan and his people, as vile as Negan was, as harsh an overlord as he was, you would have believed rich people to be the bad guys.
Yep.
And I
Mhm.
always think about that when we're in situations like this. It's like, why are they right? Why? I mean, okay, this place isn't perfect. It's there. If you want to be there, just follow the rules. Okay, there's a class system. You don't have to like it. You could leave. So, I don't know. I think about that a lot. Sorry, I didn't mean to kill the conversation.
No, it's okay. Are we moving on from Walking Dead?
Yes.
I have a couple things just to throw out there really quick. First of all, if we weren't recording tonight, we would have finished Vikings Valhalla on Netflix. It's a spinoff of the original Vikings show on history. I'm not going to spoil anything because this is brand new. What I will say is, at first, a little weird to see Kattegat and people who aren't the characters we know, but the production value and the feel of the world is the same. It quickly sucks you in. The worst part about this show is the first season's only 8 episodes. It's excellent, and we're loving it so far. And man, I just wish I know they can't, Netflix won't do the same kind of episode count History did when they did the original Vikings, but man, they need more than 8 episodes. There's just, so much story to tell, and it's done so well. Moving on from that, new movie came out on Shudder this past Friday. It's called Hellbender. It's a movie that I've been following for a while. It's done by, I believe it's a husband and wife team who have gotten some accolades on previous stuff. This is one their biggest release so far. And a quick concept idea. Imagine, a young woman and her mother live out in the woods. They are special in a way, with a dark power. And they live out there to kind of, because the mother doesn't want the daughter to become what she is. And obviously hilarity and bloodshed ensues. I will say this was an excellent movie. Not something I've ever seen done. Yeah, like it's rare you find something completely original, and it's really good. I can't say a bad thing about the movie. It's not derivative of anything that I can recall seeing. So great movie. It's called Hellbender, available on Shudder. They bought it, so it's a Shudder exclusive right now. And finally, I ran out of things to watch, when there's not wrestling to watch and stuff. So I finally took a plunge into something I've heard about for years. I started watching Riverdale.
Okay.
Now, if you don't, Riverdale is an adaptation of the Archie comics, except it's not, I remember Archie's Digest, in the supermarket line as you're checking out your groceries as a kid, and it was all wholesome, good family fun. This is dark. There's deceit, murder, all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's definitely not Archie, but it's based on all of those characters. I'm not going to say that this is on the level of Game of Thrones or anything by any stretch of the imagination, but I had stayed away from it because it was a CW show and because it was based on the whitest bread of white bread comics you could ever imagine. It's pretty good. At the very least, it's compelling, and it sucks you into the point where you want to see what happens next. Maybe little soap opera-y in that way. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't. I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed. All the characters are well acted. The production is good. It's got some great, like Luke Perry. He's gone now, but this was his last role. Great seeing him again. Good show all around. I'm enjoying it. I'm on almost at the end of season 2.
Nice. I've seen it advertised. I haven't given it a shot.
Apparently, it's got a cult following, especially on Netflix. So it's like bigger than it seems like it is. So I finally seen enough articles about how Riverdale is great that I finally had to pull the trigger and watch it. And yeah, I'm hooked.
Nice, very cool. Kev, you had one more to talk about, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't recognize very many of the actors and actresses.
No, they're all. I think they're all new.
Well, I'll watch it. So yeah, so we burned through a bunch of stuff in the last couple of weeks. I didn't even bother to write down all the movies and stuff we've seen. Some good ones, some okay. But for whatever reason, I think Kathy got suggested this by her sister. We started watching Longmire, which is a basically a cop show based in Wyoming.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I don't never seen the actor that plays Longmire, the sheriff. That's the name of the sheriff in this town. Never seen him before, nor have I seen very many of the other actors. Although there's quite a few actors that filter through in secondary roles that are known, at least TV actors, if not movie actors. But the one saving grace in my mind, other than the fact that it's got really good writing, I'll explain what I mean in a second. But the second role in this movie, other than the sheriff, is I don't know if she's an under sheriff or she's just a deputy. I think she's just a deputy. Is the character that Katie Sackhoff plays. So, in my mind, she's a bit of an overactor in this. She kind of goes out of her way to be misplaced. Followed her husband to this area because he's in the oil business. She's from Denver or something like that originally, some bigger city, not Denver. I forget Boston, maybe, where she was a police officer. Now she's here and she's like, well, what the hell am I doing here? And she's constantly going through that kind of BS. But the writing is really, really good. So if you've watched cop shows before that kind of, oh, here's another thing that happened and we got to figure out who did it. The old Scooby-Doo mystery van rides into town and they got to figure out who did it. It's fun trying to figure out what happened because they'll throw a twist in that you didn't see coming. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I never saw that. It's been pretty well every episode so far. We're on episode 5 or 6 or something like that in the first season. So if you like that sort of thing, if you've ever liked that sort of, the cop shows where there's an obvious good guy, but he's got some, kind of a, shady past. He's not perfect by any means, but he's doing the right thing for the most part. And then there's this, the internal conflict there, but then there's also the peripheral characters that have some interesting stories, plus a very good storyline that changes every show. I would highly suggest this. It's better than it looks on the cover.
Nice.
For sure.
Awesome.
I wanted to tell you thank you for your last recommendation, by the way, Kev. Reacher was fantastic, especially episode 4.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
Definitely worth a watch.
Another one on my list. I have a very long list of stuff to catch up on.
I'm trying to think. Episode 4. What happened in episode 4? What was the problem?
You should go back and rewatch it.
Okay. I do that. I liked it.
All right. Looks like we've reached the end here, fellas.
Hooray.
All right. Well, I think I'll just wrap this up with my wisdom nuggets.
Drop your nuggets.
I've been holding on to these ones for a couple weeks. Scars heal. Glory fades. And all we're left with are memories that have been made. Yeah, pain hurts, but only for a minute. Life is short, so go on and live it. Good night, everybody, and megabyte me, bitches.
This has been a GeekPod Network production.